Teachers Union Suid-Afrikaanse Onderwysers Unie, or SAOU, is threatening to boycott amendments to the life orientation curriculum expected to be implemented next year. Parts of the guidelines were reportedly leaked to the media recently. They give comprehensive sexual education to pupils between grades 4 and 12. However, the Department of Education has rejected these reports and say that they are misleading. In a statement that was released yesterday, it says no new content has been added to the program and that an increase in sexual violence in the country has necessitated age-appropriate sex education. So let's chat to my guests. In studio, we've got Johan Kruger. He's the Director of Operations at SAOU, and Matakanye Matakanya, General Secretary of the National Association of School Governing Bodies, are both here with us to discuss it further. Please note that the following discussion may not be suitable for younger children and sensitive viewers as well. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in. It's good to have you here. So this is a little bit confusing. I'll begin the conversation with you, Johan. We've got the department coming out rejecting utterances and leaks from this new curriculum. As the union, as a governing body, I mean, have you heard anything? What are you believing here?
Look, Leanne, let me start from this point. We welcome initiatives like this, wherever the department is going to educate our learners on sex. Our learners is a very vulnerable part of society, but where we don't agree with them is the way they went about with this whole process. When we heard that they're going to amend certain parts of the curriculum, we actually approached them about 6 months ago. We asked them, how can we assist you guys? And the initial content that they showed us, we were comfortable with the content. And what came out now is actually misleading from what we initially saw at the content first.
The leaked syllabus,
yeah.
Okay.
We believe that it's actually promoting an unhealthy lifestyle, a promiscuous lifestyle. So we can't support this type of curriculum.
Okay. Is it in fact the curriculum? Do you believe that what has been leaked been verified? That is very important here.
Well, I heard from our sources that some of this textbooks is already in copy. It's contradicting to what the department is actually communicating to the public now.
Yeah, because they came out yesterday and they've basically said that that they're saying that the department said learners would be taught about masturbation in the classroom by teachers were not true, and said boy and girl learners would not be made to use their body parts as teaching tools. Now this is contradictory to what was leaked. Have you had any interaction with the Department of Education, Matakanya?
Yes, quite a long time. I think at the beginning of March, when this matter appeared in the media, we counted it, but they denied until finally we got reports from parents, and there are books to that effect, which have gone to schools. And I think they indicate as well that this is a pilot, and they are piloting in 4 provinces. So there are books to that effect. And
have you seen these books?
I've seen these books.
So you've actually seen these books?
I have seen these books, so and then I even attended some of the workshops where there are some people, I don't know whether they are contracted by the department and say they are piloting these things. But even before the pilot started, we said we are vehemently opposed to this. We can't continue as a country and have a Eurocentric approach of how to talk to our children. I mean, we have Afrocentric ways of talking to our children. And some of these things are, and even moreover, they don't even consult us as parents to say, how do we teach this type of, it's a sensitive matter.
A very sensitive
Very sensitive.
Yeah, without
so
a shadow of a
that
doubt.
they must talk to us and tell them how do we want this thing to go into schools. So that there is a linkage between the school and the parents. We don't want surprises, and these are surprises. We are hearing into the baby. The department does not even call us through our organization, through any other means of talking to us. They don't. We just see this in the papers. Like, for instance, in the city press, they are indicating all these things, that they are going to teach the grade 4, the body parts and all those things.
So that's exactly what I've got here. I've got the City Press article that came out.
I mean, City Press cannot just publish that material without really making a research.
So they're saying that in grade 4. Now, when we talk grade 4, we're talking 9 years old to 10 years old.
10 years old.
Yeah, that's, I mean, that's my son's age. So he was 9 and he turned 10 in grade 4. They're saying that they will learn what private parts are and the biological names for them. But this is what gets me. One of the activities involves 10-year-olds being split into groups and pointing at one another's private parts and explaining what they think or why they think it's private. So, I mean, it's not necessarily showing your body parts, but it is perhaps, I don't know. Talk to me, what do you think of that?
You don't have to be a psychologist to see this is not age appropriate. I mean, these children is not ready emotionally to receive this type of content. And look, I was also a school principal myself. If I talk from an educator's perspective, our educators is not trained to handle this type of content in a classroom. You need specialized training to present this content to learners. Yeah. And I see a big gap in the way the department approached this whole situation.
My concern, though, and the department did bring this up, and let's talk to numbers, because we speak about 10-year-old children being taught all of this, yet the numbers that are coming out are showing that in the year 2017, 2,700 children aged between 10 and 14 were pregnant and had children. 110,000 children this is all in 2017, between 15 to 19 had children. So children are sexually active at these ages, and perhaps parents are not doing their job, and perhaps schools need to intervene, and perhaps this is a way of doing it. Can we maybe look at that? Can we talk about that?
I think Johan has accepted that already. It is true that schools are center of community life.
Yeah.
And we are saying we have to know what is the thinking of the department that will resonate with the society, with the community, with the parents in particular. You know, we are aware that those things are, but we are saying let's have a better methodology of teaching these children. And I said, I mean, we cannot continue to be told by other societies that do not experience what we are experiencing to say this is how you must teach them. This is how you must teach them. Teach them the transgender and all those things. We don't know this about transgender and all those things. Expose them to such extent. We are saying we have to be consulted. Sit down and say, how do we raise up our children? It takes a village to raise a child, and that is what we want. They can't just do it alone and been told by somebody from somewhere and come and say, no, this is how you must teach your children. Yeah. Instead of teaching our children what it will be helping them there in the future, knowledge, skill, attitude, values. And we have got skills like coding and what else?
Yeah.
Robotic and coding. If they take that money and invest in that, so that these children should not have time to do all those things, they must have time to prepare for their future.
So you're saying put your resources and energy towards educating the children of South Africa in a way that can better them. But I suppose their argument on the other side of the coin is to say it is happening. This is the reality of many South Africans and children who perhaps are not aware of what's going on. They are not aware that their body parts are private, that they should not be violated, they should not be sexually assaulted, that nobody is teaching them at home. So perhaps bringing it into a school curriculum, they will understand what their rights are and what their rights aren't.
Leanne, I agree 100% with what you're saying. We have to educate our kids. We've seen the media our kids is being exploited. But we can't support explicit content like this.
Yeah.
Like I just said initially in the beginning of the interview, we are of the belief that this is actually going to enhance a promiscuous lifestyle, unsafe lifestyle, unhealthy lifestyle. I mean, some of the activities, one of the activities for grade 9 is for grade 6. A girl is contemplating if she must put a photo of her naked breasts on a WhatsApp group for boys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sending wrong messages to our learners.
Yeah. It is, but they're doing it.
Grade 8s have to talk about, and they go into detail where they describe anal sex, vaginal sex, oral sex.
Yeah.
I mean, that's content that's not appropriate for our learners.
Yeah. You know, it is a very difficult conversation to have because, you know, there are these WhatsApp groups and, you know, it's quite frightening. I was actually sitting with my, I think my niece is maybe in grade 9 or grade 8 and exactly what you're talking about photographs that are being shared on groups is exactly what they're doing. Yeah. They are sharing these things. And this is what scared the daylights of me. I saw this and I thought, no, hang on a second. This can't be true. It can't be happening. And then the parents were alerted and then, of course, that group was quickly shut down. But it's happening. And if it is happening, how do we stop it? I'm asking you, how do we stop it if we don't educate the children that this is wrong?
I think let's have methods. And one method is to empower parents how to talk to their children. And have methods. How do we empower society? How do we empower communities? Because children are modeling.
Child-hated households?
Yes.
How do we empower them?
No, then there is a phrase. There is a phrase
about a village raising. The village is missing in this day and age, unfortunately.
Yes, of course.
I don't know where the village is gone.
Then the government must come to the party and ensure that now the household, the children household, how do we parent them?
Yeah.
And then we come to the African phrase that says, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
And what does it mean? It is time now to bring that into practice.
But the government is coming to the party because this is government's initiative to try and help. Because to go into every household in South Africa and sit down with a mother and father and say, listen here, mom and dad, this is not how you raise a child. You should tell them.
No.
It's impossible for government to do that. We need to take our own responsibility. I'm on the other side because I know you both are against it. So I'm trying to take a different
angle. What I'm saying, Leon, is that we have organized. Our societies are terribly organized.
Yeah.
Why don't we penetrate our communities through the organized formations? Yes, of course. It is difficult to go into each and every house.
Yeah.
But we can use the organized communities to talk to them and say this is what must be reflected to, because you are raising children and children are modeling and children are the reflection of a society. If they go to school, they will show us how do this society live.
Yeah.
You know, but if then we start now teaching strong values, teaching strong attitude, I mean, people are dying every day on the roads, and one of the major cause is liquor. Why are we not really putting liquor into textbooks and say no, we are going to start now teaching alcohol in? We don't do that.
Yeah.
We don't do that. I mean, let's look into the question of socio-economics. Some of these things are socio-economics, then they are brought into the school.
Yeah.
We must penetrate the communities and say as much as people are poor, but there are things that we really supposed not to do. You can't promote stealing and say no.
I'm going to pause you, and because we're running really late into the news, and I'm going to ask my producer if it's possible to wrap this up after the news, because I know you both need a closing comment here. Very fiery discussion here, and if you quickly want to write to us at Morning Live SABC, write to us on Twitter, tell us your views, we'll bring them up in the conversation. I'm going to quickly hand over to Sakina for the news, and then we'll wrap this conversation up after that. Sakina, I'll hand it to you.